There are many people that do not believe in aliens, but in this video we'll reveal some of the most chilling stories of aliens caught on tape that would make anyone consider their existence. The Mexican red lights. On March 5, 2004, the Mexican Air Force recorded a video of 11 UFOs surrounding what seemed to be a military jet. The lights that came from these strange objects were detected while police were investigating territory for a possible trafficking and criminal hiding spot. Not knowing what to do, police then contacted the Mexican military to take matters into their own hands. The military then sent their jets out to try and follow these UFOs, but the mission failed as the objects unexpectedly disappeared in thin air. Some believe this occurrence wasn't UFOs at all, but rather balls of light formed because of a small meteorite hitting the Earth's atmosphere. However, equipment operator Lieutenant Mario Adrian Vasquez was sure that these lights didn't come from a meteorite. He was convinced that they were infrared lights. Vasquez is fully convinced that the reason these UFOs disappeared like that was that they knew they were being followed by humans. The disappearing blinking lights. Veteran George Gorman decided to open up about a UFO encounter just a few years after the Second World War had ended. During that time, Gorman was still working as a Navy pilot and would fly the skies often for military practice. On October 1st, 1948, the 25-year-old veteran revealed that while he was roaming North Dakota skies, he saw something that seemed strange. He noticed a blinking light from afar. Gorman then contacted the airport to ask if there were any planes nearby so that he could end his flight. The airport then told him there were no planes flying in that area except for a small Piper Cub plane. But the thing was that Gorman had already passed that plane a few minutes ago. While the light was still blinking in such a clear sky, Gorman got very curious to get closer and see what it actually was. Not too much passed until he realized that something was not quite right. It seemed as if the blinking light was flying away from him the more he became closer. The veteran revealed that such a thing was impossible because he was flying at 400 miles per hour with a military jet. No plane could surpass that. And just when Gorman thought he finally had a chance to get close to the blinking light to see what it was, it just dodged him by flying directly upwards, disappearing in a matter of seconds. NASA caught red-handed. A strange YouTube video was uploaded in 2016 through NASA's live feed of the International Space Station. The video showed an unusual occurrence of an object leaving the atmosphere. And of course, with NASA being NASA, the live stream was immediately cut off. They then justified themselves that life was interrupted because of technical difficulties. When asked about the object that left the atmosphere, they said that it was most likely debris from a meteor crashing. But UFO fanatics weren't going to believe that. After doing some more investigation, they found out that this debris was in fact an object departing Earth followed by a bright golden beam of light. So was this a UFO leaving Earth? Tell us what you think. People have also discovered numerous photos of what looks like a spherical object releasing a beam of light as it was leaving Earth. In 2020, there was yet another UFO sighting captured from NASA's feed. The strange object was then justified with being nothing more than a former communications component being jettisoned. The Black Knight theory. The Black Knight satellite is considered to be one of the most unexplainable conspiracies among those on the lookout for UFO evidence. It's believed that a strange satellite had been orbiting the Earth for more than 10,000 years. UFO investigator Donald Kehoe, along with the country's Air Force, discovered two satellites orbiting the Earth back in 1948. This was 70 years ago, and such technology wasn't even launched yet. Some justify this with the fact that the first artificial satellite was launched 3 years later, making it possible that what Kehoe saw was just scientists testing it out. Because of people not believing the conspiracy any longer, the case went cold till 1998, when a San Francisco Examiner picked up the case again after NASA released a photo from the STS-88 mission that raised suspicion on the Black Knight theory being true, that the satellites are being controlled by some sort of alien intelligence. The Belgian UFO. In November 1989, Belgium received many reports of UFOs. There were a handful of locals stating that a strange triangle-shaped object that released lights from above was wandering around the countryside, and oftentimes the city. The reports kept coming well into the early 1990s, reaching a crescendo in late March of that year, when a UFO was picked up on radar one night. 2 Air Force pilots investigated the case, but both of them had no luck in finding anything suspicious. On the other hand, and there were 143 other locals still spotting these weird triangular forms. This would continue for the next 20 years. The case has still remained unclear, but there is certainly something behind all these Belgium alien sightings. The hidden abduction. In 1961, a couple was driving back home after a romantic holiday in Niagara Falls. During their drive home, they suddenly realized something rather strange happening in the sky. They first thought it was a plane, but after the couple stepped out of their car, they found themselves allegedly abducted by aliens. According to them, they returned hours later and reported the incident to the police and later on to the Air Force. Sadly, no one had an explanation, and both of them eventually went on to have hypnotherapy to try to fully remember their experience through flashbacks. Even though one of them died in 1969, the woman lived until she was 85 and she never stopped telling people about the aliens who took her away. NASA UFO Incident. In 1996, a NASA mission had unforeseen consequences when Space Shuttle Columbia was tasked with deploying a tethered satellite system into orbit. Well, since this is a tether line, there's a little bit of debris that sometimes flies through the atmosphere. But as it was being reeled out, the tether snapped. Footage of the drifting satellite seemed to show objects buzzing around the broken tether. NASA justified the situation, saying that it was debris. However, many people seized upon it as proof of UFOs. And it's not the only space shuttle mission to have caught the eyes of the public. In 1991, footage captured by the STS-48 mission seemed to show bright lights flashing and objects zooming by in Earth's orbit. NASA has explained that these were ice particles responding to the jet engines, but people seem to just hate believing NASA on these things. The Phoenix Lights. The Phoenix Lights have made a lot of people curious and inspired multiple horror movies and documentaries throughout the years, but no one has ever been able to find out what happened on the 13th of March, 1997. During that time, a lot of military cover-ups were known to be taking place. That day, people spotted a V-shaped formation that was seen flying over a phoenix. Even though not a lot of footage of the moment exists, there have been some documentation of people witnessing 5 circular lights floating in the sky. But that was not all. There were also many events that started from noon up until 5:30 in the morning, where numerous lights were shining brightly into the sky. In the end, the case was closed when the government described that the light the people saw was just military jets wandering around the sky. The UFO from McMinnville. Photographs taken in the 1950s noticed that an unusual object was levitating on a farm in Virgin McMinnville. The first who spotted this occurrence was Evelyn Trent. Upon seeing the object, she quickly went to alert her husband Paul, who managed to take some photographs before these strange objects headed west and disappeared. When questioned, the couple claimed that both saw the same objects, and their photos made their way into Life magazine and many other big publications. This later on led to the endless heated debates about the existence of UFOs. Researchers soon tried to verify the photos, with some saying that they were staged, while others saying they were completely true. The government cover-up of New Mexico. A farmer working at a Foster ranch in New Mexico in 1947 stumbled across some strange debris falling from the sky. In the beginning, the government said that it was possible that a weather balloon had crashed and was the cause of the whole mess. This excuse was good enough for many other farmers who witnessed the moment, not for the one who initially found out about it. The farmer that first spotted the debris was convinced that this was something that had to do with the supernatural. However, the case went cold and it wouldn't be opened until 1978, when researchers started investigating it again. Researchers concluded that the debris had come from a spaceship. There were also some farmers who claimed that alien bodies found in the spaceship had been sent to science labs for scientists to do research on them. In 1994, another official investigation revealed that the government was lying about where the debris came from. They never revealed the real truth about the case. That's all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.